Guitar Association. I met Bernie soon after he got back from Los Angeles. I think he said that he'd only been back for a few weeks. At that time it was called the Southern Ontario Fingerstyle Guitar Association. It seemed like the kind of place he thought that he ought to show up to. And I met him. It was my first night performing in front of people. And I finished performing, and he came running to the back, and I went running to the back, scared as heck from performing in front of people. And he said, "Okay, I got some things I got to show you here." And then the next performer started playing, and the guy who ran the place was like, "Could we be quiet back there?" And he's like, "You're just going to have to wait. I got to show this kid something." And it was important. It was like a pivotal moment in my guitar career, and it really helped me along to develop some sort of style of playing guitar. I met him a couple weeks later. I was doing the vending machines at the VON, which he was going to quite often because he was sick. I guess he was a vending machine guy at one point. He was on top. And he asked me, "So how's your performing going?" And I said, "It takes too much out of me. I don't think I'm going to do it anymore." And he got right on me. He says, playing guitar and performing in front of people, it's a world adventure. It's worthwhile. You should really do it. And so then he really convinced me to keep playing guitar. So now I've been making an arse out of myself in front of people for a while. Diabolical guy. But it certainly has been a lot of fun playing in front of people, and I certainly owe Bernie a lot of thanks for that. Thanks a lot.
Simple because I'm not a musician. My name is Denise Jolliker, and I just loved Bernie. He was such a special guy, and I'd see him. I worked at the hospital in Bakersville. I'd see him there occasionally, and big hugs in the cafeteria. And anyway, I've been to a lot of musical events and were invited him to musical events that we hosted. And anyway, I don't talk to him as a musician. I talk to him more like a little sister or something. I mean, you guys had a great brother, father, yeah, he was wonderful. But the thing I'll always remember Bernie most for is Scrabble on Facebook. Who else plays Scrabble with him on Facebook? Did he ever let you win?
Oh, I beat him all the time.
Did you? That's true. Well, I think I beat him once, and we had maybe 20 games over the past couple of years, and he was amazing, and quite a sense of humor, even on Facebook with the occasional comments and so forth. But I took off to Azores in September, and he looked at me and he said, "You're abandoning me. Don't leave. I've got it," because I wasn't going to be able to play Scrabble with him. Anyway, so I think I'll keep him on Facebook anyway. Maybe I should play with you.
This is going to be tough. My name is Ron Volterman. I've known Bernie since about 1975. I used to work at the Junction Tavern as a disc jockey, and I met Bernie through that because he was also a disc jockey on the radio. And we got started talking, and we became friends. Became friends so much that we used to play backgammon. A lot. And I mean a lot. We used to play for about 22 hours at a solid straight. Just because we could. We used to go down to, I don't know how many people remember, but the Elmont Tavern. We used to have an upstairs, very, very upstairs, where we used to have backgammon tournaments up there on Monday nights. And Bernie and I used to go down there, and I'm going to say of 10 weeks in a row, between Bernie and myself, we would win 9. and the thing what we won was a bottle of wine. A bottle of wine was worth $4, but it cost us $5 to get into there. But that's the way Bernie was. He just liked to win. He liked to be the best, and so we'd always have competition. The other thing I noticed about Bernie through knowing him is that he knew a lot of people. He knew everybody. He always knew somebody when we were out somewhere. We went to one of the games, the Blue Jay games, from the first year that they were in existence, in the old exhibition stadium. It was myself, a person I was living with, Harry Maffey at that time, Bernie, and my brother-in-law, Lawrence Rooney. We went down by the GO train. On the GO train, Bernie met 3 people that he knew, just going to the baseball game. I used to call Bernie X. I don't know how many people used to read National Lampoon magazine, but there was an article in there. It was called Bernie X. He was a cab driver, and he knew everybody in New York City. So I called Bernie X, and that stuck with him ever. I always called him that, Bernie X. We get to the Blue Jay game. As we're going up to our seats, I don't know if you remember how they used to work, but there was 2 turnstiles. Over on the other turnstile, one of the guys over there yells over, "Hey, Bernie." I says, "Bernie X, you know everybody." We go to have a few liquid refreshments after the baseball game in one of the bars that was on the other side. In there, he knew the waiter. I'm going, is there anybody you don't know? On the way back, on the train back, my brother-in-law, Lawrence Rooney, said, "Bernie, you know everybody." And Bernie and Larry didn't know each other at that time, so they asked a little bit of background. Turns out that they did know each other. He knew everybody. I'm just amazed at the amount of people that knew Bernie, that had respect for Bernie, that loved Bernie, had fun with Bernie all the time. I'm going to jump a couple of years. I think it was about February. Bernie was down at my place. We're watching NASCAR, like Bernie liked. And he said to me, "Ron, this morning I got up and I was in the bathroom and I was staring in the mirror. And he said, I asked myself, what am I doing here?" Not that he was religious or spiritual anyway, he just forgot why he went into the bathroom. And he said, "Ron, my memory's gone and it's starting to all the time. All the time." And that's the way Bernie is. He leads you down the garden path one way, but he'll make that right hand turn. He does that with you all the time. I agree with that. He does, okay? And if you know Bernie, he suffered from CDO. That's obsessive compulsive disorder, but it's alphabetically like it should be. Thank you very much.
Well, let me just thank you for those remembrances that Bernie would have loved being reminded about Bernie X and about his work and his enjoyment in the various musical groups around. I believe this afternoon as well, it's important to finish with a word of encouragement to all of us about the significance of our lives, whether it was a left turn question or not, about what am I doing here? the significance of our lives even when we're gone, and the certainty of what's beyond the grave. Bernie didn't talk easily about these matters, but ironically, this one event, which probably causes more emotional suffering than any other death, is in reality a time for joy. As we acknowledge through Scripture and through the Christian faith that this life is not all there is, and that Christ's victory can be appropriated to each one of us as we acknowledge the grace that comes to us through his death and resurrection. English philosopher John Donne is probably most well known for his quote that he wrote, "No man is an island entire of itself, but everyone is a part of the main." There's another quote that is very important in his writings as well, though, and it goes like this. John Donne, from about the 16th century, "All mankind is of one author and is one volume. When one person dies, one chapter is not torn out of the book, but is translated into a better language, and every chapter must be so translated." It seems to me in our Canadian culture that it's the norm not to talk about matters of faith for fear of offense, or some would argue out of respect for diverse viewpoints. Yet at times like this, I'm reminded of something I've known for a long time, but easily forget, and was put succinctly by an Anglican minister from Australia. Here's what he said, because he experienced the same kinds of things in the Australian culture. "No matter how educated, materialistic, or secular our society becomes, questions of spirituality just do not go away. We are incurably inquisitive about realities deeper than our investment portfolios, our waistlines, our holidays, and our retirement packages. It's as if something in our world continues to seduce us with questions of faith. Why are we here? What happens at death? To whom can I be grateful? And 1,000 other questions which have tantalized the human mind over the centuries.